I was headed home from Patrick Henry High School on a blustery February Thursday in 2007. However, for me, it was the end of the week, and my disposition made up for the lack of sunshine. I was jazzed. The plan was to get home and pack so that I and my 2 golden retrievers could leave first thing in the morning and get up to Radford University to visit my son, TJ. TJ, a theater major, had received the lead in the Radford University's winter production, and we were going to spend the weekend all together. But as the Beatle John Lennon wrote, life's what happens while we're busy making other plans. Driving down Patrick Henry Highway, a small head peeked out from the ditch. I remember the expletives I recited as I turned my car around. This was not part of my timetable. However, I could no more pass this hurt animal on the side of the road than I could a human being. The animal was a badly hurt Beagle-Basset mix named Rascal. I took off my winter coat and put it over him, and then I stood beside him against a tall oak tree on a small hill that rose from the ditch. Afraid of his reaction if I tried to lift him into my car, I waited for 2 hours for animal control to come and help me. 3 surgeries and several $1,000s later, Rascal became part of my beloved family. But this story is not about Rascal. That's for another reflection. This is about what happened afterward. Everyone at school had heard about the Rascal rescue, and 3 weeks later, Shannon, another teacher in my department, asked to speak to me privately. She was visibly shaken and had begun to cry. Shannon was a devout Baptist whose faith guided her daily life. She began, "Kim, you're going to think I'm crazy. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before." And I responded, "Shannon, you know, I'm the crazy one. Nothing shocks me." She told me that for the last 2 weeks, she had been awakened in the middle of the night by a voice whom she identified as God. And when she opened her eyes, she saw me, standing on a hill with the wind blowing my hair and clothing. She was so upset, so visibly shaken, that I tried to break the tension with my New York sarcasm. "Shannon, wait a minute. The important thing, did I look good?" Shannon didn't get the joke. Instead, she described me standing on the hill in front of the oak tree. She described exactly what I was wearing on that Thursday afternoon as I waited beside Rascal, including the fact that I wore a scarf, but no coat. Shannon then said that God told her to tell me that God was very pleased with me and loved me very much. She then added that God had also said I would experience something very difficult in my life that would cause me extreme pain, but not to worry, not to be afraid, that God would be with me through it all. That night, I went home and I cried, and I screamed, and then I cried some more. I knew I should be so grateful that God was pleased with me and had sent me this very special message that I was so loved. But all that was overshadowed by the fact that I instinctively knew what this prophecy of pain was going to be. And I did not want it. I could not bear it. And I pleaded with God not to let it happen. I kept that prayer going for years. I have always been drawn to the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000. For me, the message is that God gives me what I need, even if it isn't what I want. My friends would often hear me say, "Loaves and fishes, God is good to me." In the 10 years that followed, there were many difficult times, and God was always with me, providing what I needed, not always what I wanted, and often in the 11th hour. So I began to hope that maybe I was wrong about Shannon's message. Perhaps this is what God had meant. But in 2017, my worst fears were realized, and that which I dreaded came to pass. Like so many who suffer profound loss, my heart is broken. Yet, it continues to beat. What I did not think I could bear has become bearable. I have not been awakened in the middle of the night by God's voice, but I do hear God's voice daily in the voices of my friends who offer their love and their support. I hear his voice from strangers who offer kindness and wisdom. I feel the motivation of purpose through the affirmation of former students who have now become friends, and current students whose needs provide incentive for my perseverance. I feel God's unconditional love through my golden retriever, Maggie. And I see God's face, and I feel God's spirit as I connect with the divine through nature and the galaxies of the universe. My life is not what I wanted it to be, but it is what I need it to be, because my most essential need has been met, both around me and within me. I feel God's presence always.